Hi everyone, Miss Silla here at Learn to Grow up in the Pacific Northwest Zone 8B. So this video is about regrowing vegetable scraps for more leafy greens and even seeds, so you can get more leafy greens for free and also free seeds. And it's such a great activity that you can also do with your kids at home. So I started the scraps about 4 weeks ago. So this video was recorded in a duration of 4 weeks. So the scraps were started indoors in water, and I eventually transplanted them or planted them in containers outdoors. Now some scraps I planted them directly in containers outdoors. And also, just a side note, when you're regrowing an onion scrap, you will not get the same big onion bulb like you would in its first season. Instead, it'll develop a smaller bulb, but it will eventually start to send a flower stalk, and the flower stalk will produce seeds for you. "14-day update. Check out the growth and the roots on some of these scraps. This is a pineapple top and a piece of potato. So I actually have a pineapple plant that's about nearly 3 years old, and it was started from another top scrap just like this one. So I usually just submerge it in water, and once these little roots get to about half an inch to an inch long, you can go ahead and plant it in a pot. And I use a cactus potting mix. Now potato pieces, just make sure each piece has at least 2 to 3 eyes. These are the eyes that will grow new plants for you, and you'll get new tubers or potatoes in about 3 to 4 months, depending on the variety. Now just make sure each piece is about 1.5 inches thick, about the size of a golf ball. Here's a celery, leek, and check out the roots of this one. Spring onions, they're about 12 inches tall now. Bok choy, check out the romaine lettuce. And here are the onions. I have a second one growing there that I cut lengthwise about a week ago, and it's doing much better. Look at all those roots. Since I didn't cut the top off entirely like this one, it has more stored energy that this little plant will feed from, and eventually it'll shoot out the leaf blades on top. Here are the carrots, and there are some roots in there too. Look at that. There's tiny ones in that orange one. Check out the roots on this bok choy scrap. Nice leaves. Here is the leek scrap. Look at those roots. So these are all vegetable scraps except these rosemary cuttings that I'm trying to root. Now, if you ever buy those packs of herbs from the grocery store, you can propagate those as well. Root them and you'll get some free plants. So I've got some spring onions. These were planted about, I think, 3 days ago now. These were planted about I believe 7 days ago, and some of them have been here for about, I think, 2 weeks. And you can keep harvesting these leafy greens about 3 to 4 times before they start to set flower and then go to seed. These are the onion scraps. So again, more leafy greens that you can get from them. Celery bottoms, get to harvest some of these leafy greens and stalks before it sets flowers. And I've got this bok choy scrap that's actually starting to flower. So I'm going to let this keep growing and produce some seed pods for me, so we'll get some free seeds. So these scraps were planted last fall. This one is spring onions. And it is sending out a flower stalk. So we'll get some seeds from that. This one is celery. Look at that, guys. Check out all the stalks. So this celery overwintered when I planted it. I think it was back in October, and it's just starting to produce more foliage. But you can harvest these greens and foliage. Look at that, guys. And again, it'll send a flower stalk and we'll get some seeds. So it's been about 3.5 weeks since I planted the scraps in this container. Unfortunately, something's eating the bok choy, but you can see that the celery scrap has grown. Lots of leaves, carrot tops, spring onions, onion scraps, and the leek was dug up by a squirrel, so that one died. And the romaine lettuce was dug up as well. These carrot flowers produced some seeds for us last year. We also got some seeds from onion flowers last year that were grown from scraps. So here's the pineapple plant that I started 3 years ago from a pineapple top scrap. Look at this. It is over 3 feet tall, so we might get a fruit this year, if not hopefully next year.